Here we go. Megyn Kelly.
Yesterday, there was a soundbite of me.
Let's see. It says Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson address viral Muslim comment and attacks over what's the rest of the title? It doesn't matter. All right.
On with Mark Halperin on his show, talking about how my understanding is that you've had an influx of young viewers and some Muslims now that are taking another look at the Tucker Carlson show because you've been somewhat defensive of Islam, just yes. The blatant attacks on it as a religion. And I also said something that you and I talked about months ago, which was, as I now see what Israel does to you, I mean, truly, like its emissaries for sure have unleashed a vicious campaign against yours truly on social media and elsewhere. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, we're handling it. But as I now see what they do, it does cause me to reevaluate what other propaganda has been out there that I've fallen for that's coming from a foreign government. You know, you and I discuss this. So I'm going to show you the soundbite and then I'll tell you what they're saying about it. Watch. Like he's gotten very, very popular lately, I read, with Muslim viewers because he's been standing up for Islam, you know, and I have to tell you, Mark, it's been something I've noticed just since I've gotten sort of more clear-eyed on Israel, that a lot of the anti-Muslim rhetoric that's put out there originates with people who are very, very pro-Israel, who kind of need us to demonize them. Right. And I've taken a look recently at my own rhetoric on this to say, like, have I been manipulated? I want to make sure I'm not getting manipulated. But I think he's having a lot of Muslim viewers flock to him. I know for a fact he has a lot of young men flocking to him. And so while he may have lost some contingent of the Fox News audience that's very, very pro-Israel and, pro-Trump, and you can't say anything about Trump, for every one of those who leaves, there is another newer, younger audience member who does want to hear these traditional lines challenged and hear just new independent thinking. I mean, I'm experiencing some of that myself, and Tucker probably times 10.
This is Pocket. I never go anywhere without it. At the tap of a button, it records.
Okay, so what happened, interestingly, in response to that clip online yesterday was a torrent of demands by the Israel firsters and some regular conservatives. I mean, demanding that I, in their view, return to Muslim hate, that any deviation off of Muslims are bad.
No, it's not. No one's calling you to hate Muslims. That's a mischaracterization and a straw man of the argument. Someone like Steven Crowder, who's not an Israel first person, just a conservative on the right, is essentially saying, be honest about what Islam has done, what jihadists do, and what certain people in the Islamic faith believe. 198 million Muslims believe that violence is the answer. There's a billion of them, more than a billion of them, so I guess that's a small portion, but 198 million is still a lot. And so no one's calling you to just willy-nilly hate Muslims. That's a ridiculous thing to say. No one wants that. But just be honest. Be honest about why you're supporting them, what you're doing, why your views have changed. Also be honest about the violence that jihadists and Islamists have caused without running cover for them or for Tucker Carlson and his fucking new audience or whatever. That's what they're saying. No one's saying that you should just blatantly hate them. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
Universally bad is not acceptable and makes you of the left, was the accusation. And, you're just out there for clicks. It's like nothing I've done is for clicks. If anything, my stance on the Iran war and Trump attacking me hasn't been particularly helpful, but it's sincere. And, you got to be honest about who you are and where you stand.
Yep.
And I have been blown away by how openly the Israel First crowd is demanding that I and others hate Muslims or else, or what? We're going to be called empty vessels, or we're going to be like shamed for having said things that are questioning about Islam. I'm not real pro on like Islamic leaders in America. I still stand by that. But I am reevaluating some of the things that I swallowed hook, line, and sinker, Tucker, because I now see we've all been manipulated. You have no idea how ubiquitous and powerful AIPAC, Israel, its lobby, its paid agents. I mentioned Brad Parscale the other day, who's registered as a foreign agent for Israel now and runs Salem Media Group. I mean, there are a lot of those folks in our nation pushing propaganda on us. And I frankly think I've been too trusting.
Well, this was one of the concerns about immigration 100 years ago, that people would come to this country and import with them their own ancient blood feuds and then impose them on the rest of us. And I'm American, and I don't have to sign on to your blood feud. If you're Armenian and you demand I hate all Turks, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, you may hate Turks, you may have good reason to hate Turks, whatever, but I don't hate Turks. I kind of reserve the right to form my own bigotries. And one of the reasons that I try to retreat from the world regularly, in the woods or the sauna or whatever, is just to kind of sort of come to center to what I believe. I'm a Christian, which is an exclusive claim. Okay, so I believe Jesus is the Son of God. I believe you get to God through Jesus. That's exclusively through Jesus. So I'm not a Muslim. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Hindu. I'm not a Sufi. I'm a Christian. On the other hand, I just like reverent people. And anyone who bows down before God and admits I'm not God 5 times a day doesn't share my theology. We don't have the same view of how you get to heaven, but that person is not by definition my enemy. People who
No, but doesn't it matter what they're praying for? Doesn't it matter what they believe in? Doesn't it matter what their book tells them to do? Doesn't that matter? Like, isn't that also important in regards to your Christian values? Or that just doesn't matter? If you pray, and if you pray to a God and you're a religious person, no matter what that religion or that doctrine or the words say and tell you and encourage you to do, it doesn't matter. That's a ridiculous thing. That's not. There's no values there.
have a problem with are those who espouse violence and hatred, who lie, who think it's okay to lie, people with a point of view that is not universal.
Tucker Carlson, all you do is lie. You're the number one liar and gaslighter. You were literally caught lying red-handed about the Antichrist in a new recent article or recent interview. Literally. And then you tried to backtrack and say you didn't say it and then did say it. And then it's like, so you don't like yourself, or you don't hold the same standards to you as you do everyone else? What's the deal?
The Christian worldview, and by the way, also the Muslim worldview, is a universal worldview. Anybody can come to this faith. That's my worldview. I was born into it. I believe it. It's sincere. And so anyone else who has that worldview, I'm willing to be friends with. I'm not going to hate you because your parents did something that somebody else objects to. I'm just not playing along with that. And I knew that I would be attacked as like a Muslim lover or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a Muslim lover. I'm a people lover until proven otherwise. And I'm just not going to play along at all with that kind of stuff. And at this stage of my life, I just don't care, because it's not about the money for me. Honestly, I've never taken $1 from a Muslim or anyone else. I have no debt. I have no investors, and I don't seek to be a billionaire. So I'm not in crypto. So at this point, it's like, what are you going to do about it? Call me a Muslim lover? Okay. Okay, go ahead. I mean, so what?
Yeah. No, same. It's like, I don't, anybody who thinks I'm opposing Trump for clicks hasn't followed the history of our relationship.
Oh, I know. And by the way, I don't think it's helping.
I've had our ups and downs.
It hasn't made your life easier, that's for sure.
Definitely not. But it's like, I also can't wake up in the morning and look my audience, in the figurative eye and lie about how I feel on something this big, on anything. Why would I? Like you, I'm fine independent. As an independent, I'm fine financially, and I don't need to do it. And so people will like it or they won't like it. I think most of the audience, even if they disagree, will forgive it. It's like, we talk about a lot of things on this show. That's not even.
I don't know, mate. You've been arguing with everyone online about fake bots, and you literally got your information and your claim from Candace Owens, who's the most untrustworthy person on the planet. And then you ran with it, the fact that Ben Shapiro is paying for this and paying for that. Of course, they run Google ads. Every company runs Google ads on the face of the earth, right? But it's like, all you're doing is arguing online about views and numbers. And so if the point of your show is to tell the truth and be honest and give people a good perspective about what's happening in the world, then the views should be secondary to the truth. And then you also, as an adult who has a job and a business, you shouldn't be going online arguing about views. It's very lame. It's very, very lame. And so there's just things that are, don't always line up with Megyn Kelly. And we're going to see some of that in a little bit from the side-by-side footage of Milk Bar TV. But we're hearing it from her own words right here.
The main thrust of this particular show. It never has been foreign policy, but it's crazy to me, the attempts from this Mike Lawler resolution to the online hate campaign to silence this point of view. Like, you are not allowed, at least as a conservative or a right winger or somebody who's perceived to be on the right side of the aisle, to be opposed to this war or to be in any way soft on Muslims. My God, it's like, you know what? Fuck off. I'll be whatever I want to be. And if I want to reevaluate any POVs at 55, I'll do it. Too bad.
Amen. That's exactly right. But did you think when you campaigned for Trump and for MAGA and all that stuff a year and a half ago, less than a year and a half ago, that you'd be signing up for like a more rigid version of identity politics and cancellation and censorship and basically screaming in the face of people you disagree with rather than debating them? Did you think you were signing up for that? Because I didn't. I thought I was signing up for the opposite. I voted against that. That's one of the main reasons I campaigned for Trump, is I can't stand that. Shut up racist. And shut up racist turns out to be maybe not even as annoying as shut up anti-Semite. I mean, they're the same thing.
Yes. Oh, it's nowhere near.
Shut up anti-Semite's a little harder edged. No one ever accused me of wanting genocide.
I mean, I agree with the fact that the word racist and the word anti-Semite are thrown out way too loosely. It's actually kind of fucking embarrassing. Even coming from a Jew who talks about this stuff quite a bit, it's like, stop calling everyone an anti-Semite. Just contend with their arguments or ignore them. That's it. Like, if every single person on the face of the earth is an anti-Semite, then we're the dumbasses, not them. And it's ridiculous. It's watered down. It should have some meaning when you get called that, when you get called a racist or a bigot, but it doesn't anymore. It's a kind of like a badge of honor to be called an anti-Semite at this point. And so we have to do something about that. Because when someone really does hate Jews, like, I don't think Megyn Kelly does. I think Tucker Carlson certainly does, or he's getting paid to do so. I don't actually know. But it shouldn't be thrown out so loosely. That's a fact.
Aside, when one of my main instincts in life is anti-genocide, I'm against ethnic cleansing. That's why I'm concerned about what Israel's doing. So, like, this whole thing is like not what I thought we were getting at all.
Yeah, well, there's no genocide in Gaza. It's been proven over and over again. So everyone on earth who is a sane, moral person is anti-genocide. It's the fucking grossest shit that could ever happen to a group of human beings. Stupid.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. It's so weird to me. Like, sorry to keep pausing it, but it's so weird to me to have to claim to be anti-genocide. Everyone is, unless you're a psychopath like jihadists who want to kill everyone who's not a Muslim, who's a non-believer. Anyways, let's continue.
And it's the fact that it's happening on, quote, our side, on the right, is so stunning and upsetting. And I don't even understand it. Going into this whole thing, even the question of what role does Israel play in our politics and our country seems like something we should be able to debate like gentlemen, to steal a phrase, right?
For sure.
Okay, there are facts. You can be pro it. You can be against it. Why do we have to hate each other over it?
We certainly don't. We certainly don't. But if your critique of the Israeli government always leads you to hate the Jews, blame the Jews, demonize the Jews, demoralize the Jews, and have a double standard for Israel, then you have an issue. If your actual critiques are critiques of the government, which Israelis do all the time, every single day, then great. How can we make that place better? Now, if you want to stop foreign aid to Israel, totally fine. That's totally fine. Great. Let's do that. Let Israel stand on their own. Cool. Fine. Totally fine. But if everything that you do about the Israeli government always leads back to demoralizing and demonizing the Jews, where you have a double standard for them and no one else, then there's an issue there. That's the issue.
I certainly didn't make that the stakes of any of my friendships with the more prominent Jewish members of the media. They did. They all did. Mark Thiessen is very, very unhappy with me for not supporting the war. I love Mark Thiessen. I really do. I care about Mark Thiessen a lot. I'm the one who made him a star, Tucker. I put him on the Kelly File night after night. And I know he's a good man. And I know he's very, very pro this war. And I actually don't hold it against him. That he comes by it honestly. He's been in that place for many, many years. But he's not somebody who's like ended a friendship over it. There are others who really have and who have gotten so personal and vicious, most of whom I just don't respond to. I just don't even respond. It's like, well, whatever, you do your thing. But I've been shocked at how vicious it's been from the right.
Well, it's to see, as I said, I was in Jake Tapper's wedding. Like, I knew Jake Tapper really well. And again, I knew him when he was a Hooters lobbyist. I wish he'd remained. one. He was, I think, a pretty good Hooters lobbyist. But to see him like attack me as someone who should be censored because he doesn't like my opinion on Netanyahu, it just shows you found the red line, the thing that really matters to other people. The thing
Also,
that's
I
more
mean, I
important.
don't think anyone should be censored, canceled. I think you should be able to speak about whatever you want, whenever you want, especially when you've built up a platform like Tucker and Candace and Megyn. They can say and do whatever they want because they have the platform to do so. And I think they're obviously that's encouraged. Do that. But it doesn't mean that people can't go online and react and criticize and reject your ideas. That's totally also fair game as well. Because someone is critiquing you and calling you a liar or a gaslighter does not mean censor, take off air, cancel. It's totally different.
To them than friendship, than love between people, than people in general. Like this is what they care about most. And it's so revealing that I think it's going to be hard to go back, honestly.
Thanks for watching this
See you,
clip. If
Megyn.
you're new here.
All right, now let's go here. Let's share this tab instead here. And let's just watch this first video here, where it's 4 minutes of the best of Megyn Kelly's flip-flops, hypocrisy, and expert level grifting. This is 4 minutes of greatness. Let's just watch this.
Right now are all transgender kids who want others to know it is possible to transition socially with love and support and acceptance within a family and a community.
We hope to communicate by sharing our story with you and with folks is that this is real and it's cool.
A perfect example of the beauty that happens when a child is loved and fully embraced for who they are.
Thank you all for sharing your stories. It's an honor to know you.
It is beyond time to stand up to the trans lobby that means to deprive women of their spaces and rights.
But I am fascinated by the protection of women and understanding what we're getting in the Oval Office. Another woman who has alleged groping, unwanted groping, by Donald Trump is with us back now with 3 of the 16 plus women who have accused President Trump of sexual misconduct. Trump is on record as saying he did this. And you are all familiar by this point with the Access Hollywood tape. I thank you so much for coming on and telling your stories.
Thank you for having us.
You bet.
I don't give a shit about Trump getting handsy with somebody 20 years ago.
That was the only reason.
I have this like crush from afar on Mark Levin. I've always loved him. I agree with Sean that he's the great one, but I secretly from afar am like a Mark Levin stalker.
This is crazy.
It's like
this is actually crazy.
there are certain people, and it's a very small list, who I consider appointment viewing. And it's like, whenever I see you, I stop. Whenever I see Mark Levin clip, I stop. Whenever Mark Levin has a book, I read. It's just, there is such a small collection of people who are truly brilliant and honest. So I want all of our listeners, I'm sure they already know that, but pay attention. You're going to learn something. I mean, this is like a 70-year-old man. He's in his like mid to late 60s or 70. Senior citizen with the show on Fox News on the weekend. He never made it in the prime time. You spend 5 minutes watching his show, you'll see why. He was not primetime material. We used to laugh at him behind the scenes of Fox.
I mean, that's just like, that's wild flip-flopping. That's wild flip-flopping. I mean, that's crazy, right? We're watching the same thing together.
Supposedly 9 months pregnant in the hospital room. Here's the problem. We don't like you, Meghan Markle. And no amount of posting videos that you think are going to humanize you will make us like you.
Candace is a young mom of like 3 young kids. It's my prerogative if I say to myself, that is not someone I wish to attack.
So truly, you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface for Halloween, or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Like, back when I was a kid, that was okay.
They both have actually worn blackface repeatedly in Jimmy Kimmel's case, and the worst kind of possible blackface you can imagine in Sarah Silverman's case, minstrel show blackface. Look at this. This is so offensive what she's wearing. Anyone could see how deeply wrong this is. Iran is an enemy of the United States. Iran has been the #1 sponsor, state sponsor of terror against the United States for the past 46 years. Iran is not just theoretically chanting death to America, as some absolute fools have been suggesting over the past few days. They have actually been causing death to Americans for decades now. I love Tim Dillon, and here he is saying it like no one can on where our heads are at.
I don't give a fuck about Iran.
Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush have all said that Iran cannot get a nuclear weapon. They can't. It's just this president, forgive me, but he had the balls to actually do something about it. Who made him do this? And the answer is Benjamin Netanyahu and the man in the mirror for President Trump, his own hubris. I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D chess, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually. I mean, honestly, Trump could drop a nuke and I'd still vote Republican.
Whoa. Whoa. I mean, obviously, if you watch that video objectively, it completely speaks for itself.